Glasses. Now, if I don't start the day off with them, and I don't use them, I'm okay. But once I put them on, I try to get to it. Didn't work.
Yeah, this is right here. Right here.
Yeah. All right, so where are we?
Yes. Did you all make changes to this after we met? No. This is your map. This is the way you left it. But it doesn't match this. Yeah, colors do. See how this is all the new high school, and on the computer it's Henry Clay.
Right.
The black lines, the lines are the lines are yours. So this is versus what we have on paper. All right, for people who don't read math very well, it's very confusing for me. Okay, so on this map that Isaac is showing us, the colors are the current zone. Okay. And the lines, and the reason it's probably looking like this is because that matches your overlay. Okay. Because we assume that you guys want to look at the big map while you were saying.
If you want to look at it, they've got overlay lines that show. Okay. So this is the fewest adjustments we left off. Yeah.
Okay.
First one.
Isaac?
Yes.
Can you add the study demographic to this current map so that we can see the different demographic areas within this map?
Sure. So you wanted to. Are you looking for the free and reduced numbers? Is that what you were trying to see?
Well, we have a list of the demographics, but I don't know how it corresponds to the map. So if you could put those numbers on the actual map,
okay,
that might help us know whether or not we can move a particular area.
Sure.
We've got them on the list, but I just...
Yeah, the study area numbers will show up here for you in a moment. Is there a particular area that you're looking at right now that I can kind of zoom to, or?
Look for the study.
I think there's any way rather than the number of the study areas,
There's somebody there.
percentage would be reduced much.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing everyone speak at the same time, so when you address me, it'd be easier if I had just one person speaking at that time, and I'll be able to hear you clearly.
Now?
I've got you now.
My name is
Isaac,
Yes.
rather than the number of the study area, can you depict a percentage of free and reduced lunch?
Yeah, let me pull those numbers up for you in just a moment.
I was looking for free reduced lunch. That's what I was looking for. We kind of changed.
Let's see if this gets it done.
The other guy, small area.
That's why he went out there.
He went out, he ran. That's your project. Yeah, I'm like
I'm still waiting for the screen to refresh here, guys. I'm sorry. It should come up shortly here. And let me turn off the study area numbers. Those current boundaries. So remember, the green is free and reduced is less than 50%, and red are areas where you have more than 50%.
Okay, can you drop the high school boundary lines back in?
Yep, they're still coming up here in a moment. I'm not sure why it's running so slow here, but you'll see that change here in just a moment.
Section 8. Come on.
Does everyone have a printout of those, that breakdown as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So, are we trying to reduce the amount of free and reduce and get more paid in? As we're seeing right now when it comes to so the free lunch hours.
You need to pull that back up. That's the previous number and section number study.
It's yeah. It's got to be the pink. If you think about it. Yeah. Hi. Right.
I had glasses.
Today.
Okay. Which area did you want to know? What area did you want to know? Section did you want to know? What?
Okay.
Probably.
So, Dave, question for you. If we go with proposal A, the least amount of changes, are we now trying to figure out how do we reduce the amount of free and reduced in Bryan Station? Is everybody else okay with all the other high schools? Is that the concern? What's the question we're trying to answer?
782, 783. Right there? Like we had, I'm looking at the state. Okay. That's what I'm
Okay. So, but if we look at what everybody else is, everybody's in like 30s and 40s. So Bryan Station is the only one at 60. So do you say at least you try to bring them down to around 50% or something of that nature? Yeah. But I had to leave a little early. Because you just have it.
Moving all this is no kid.
Nothing out here. So then you start putting back.
Then you ended up with this huge, yeah, the district was the county.
That's huge, Jeff.
Okay.
And that was pretty kept running
And went over that, see how we took. That goes all the way out. Here's the other red area. A little bit of that little chunk off. numbers overcrowded.
yeah.
I would give a starting point. Because I feel like we've
Sorry.
got 3 different conversations going on, and we're not going to accomplish anything. So if we want to figure out a starting point like Lafayette,
And it might help if you choose one scenario to look at.
I think we would like to look at the viewer adjustment.
Okay, so the fewest adjustment scenario is include. So hold this for me.
That's going to be the challenge.
And if you want to pull the others out from under,
That's a path
would
ahead of
only be looking
us.
at
So we
that.
move forward.
Right?
Seriously, like anything else.
How to move on.
But then tell us what you know, right?
Okay, except for the lower number.
Yes.
Okay, there's your fewest adjustment map.
That'll be our next
Lisa, the map is up on the screen, the one that we're tweaking, Lizzie Davis.
Yes, sir.
Is that reflected in any of the current scenarios that you just worded?
In the large map that you got that says fewest adjustment,
This is what we're looking at.
this is your data.
This data matches that map.
Yes. But Lisa, help me. Where was Bryan Station? Or we made adjustments in terms of their free and reduced?
Where are they currently?
Yes. I don't think I have. Do I have that? Oh, maybe so.
Right.
I got some more.
Currently, Bryan Station is at 6.
But Dunbar would have to
So your fewest adjustment makes Bryan Station more free and reduced lunch than it by 2%.
Dunbar and this Bryan Station, you're lower in the number.
I don't know if you want to increase it up, though. I mean, I don't. Right. Nice fun.
All right. Here's what we need to figure out. We need to figure out which school we want to start with and which schools we're okay with.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, Dunbar and Lafayette are over capacity.
Yes, and Case Creek is closed.
Right, and they also have some of the lower free and reduced lunches.
Yes.
So if you take some of the paid lunches out, put it to them like Bryan Station, like Dunbar, if you move it up to Bryan Station, some areas are paid, you're going to bring down their number some, but you're going to bring up the free and reduced at Dunbar, and you're also going to have less people in Dunbar and more in Bryan Station. Does that make sense?
Yes, but we did those numbers at the last meeting, and there was like 36 to 46 children that were kind of in that rural area.
Uh-huh.
So when they looked at the busing situation, it just wasn't worth going all the way out there to get 30 children to make that.
Okay.
So you would probably have to almost shift it back the other way to where like some of the Dunbar kids went to Chase Creek or something, and Chase Creek went into Henry Clay, and Henry Clay went into everybody had to go counterclockwise to do what you're saying.
Well, in concept, you've got that idea, and you've got, now, in essence, look along the boundary and find green areas that can switch,
Right.
if you can, and see how many kids there are. There is
Did that
one,
kind
there are a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that big?
And if you look at these red lines, the red line map that is your overlay is the map that does the better job of balancing. So you may want to look at where your red line had differences with your blue line, and maybe those are some areas to zero in on.
Do you have a red?
Our focus right here is to try to balance out the two schools that are over capacity, and that's fine. But as we look at this, they're almost de minimis over capacity. We're talking about 1 or 2% or 3%. And in that case, we're only talking about 30 kids in one school, Lafayette. So it may be more trouble than it's worth.
And they are also areas where there's not going to be a lot of growth.
Right. I mean, they're sort of locked in there, so there's not going to be new development.
So we probably don't need to make that adjustment then.
Well, can we, you know what? Can we live with that? Can we live with a a school being 30 kids over?
Didn't we say that by 2018, the overcrowding will take care of itself through attrition, through graduation? Did we talk about that?
No,
It's going to be worse.
growth to over
I thought about
2018 is
Lafayette.
going to make everything worse.
Talk about it, Lafayette.
If you look at the feeder schools there, Beaumont and Jesse Clark are our fullest middle schools. So they're going to grow up into Dunbar and Lafayette.
So then, we may not be right. In fact, what we ought to be thinking about is not taking 34 kids out to get it to capacity, but rather another 100 kids or so below capacity for that anticipated growth by 2018.
You keep the proposed high school at that number we want to keep it where we know there is no big.
I'll just throw this out there in terms of the transportation issue. They talk about it's not worth it for 34 kids. We're looking at shifting things one way. What if we looked at it shifting it the other way? Shifting the Dunbar into Lafayette and moving around that way. We've got this area right here that obviously how many kids are in there. So that's a big chunk. Move them this way and then move some of Lafayette this way or Kids Creek. And instead of going the other way, which we've been talking about in all our scenarios,
Do we get any kids to Bryan Station that way? And do we reduce that number of free and reduced funds from 62%?
Some of this new school are in Bryan Station.
For example, this area is already moved, shown to go from Dunbar to Lafayette. We took it from Lafayette and pushed it to Henry Clay
Or Tate's Creek.
right where Tate's Creek, and then moved it out of
You can't move it that way because then you're missing
Yeah, I think that's right.
Not advocate, I'm just saying it's another approach to it.
Yeah, I was just trying to help him articulate what he was saying. This example, this area right here, is currently in Dunbar and it is shown to go to Lafayette. He was saying to select an area from Lafayette that would go into either Tate's Creek or Henry Clay, and then select an area from Henry Clay. In essence, push the lines around that way a little bit, starting at this proposal.
More proportional to growth patterns in the existing population.
Have we agreed on our focus here? Okay. Let's concentrate on that then for both. How do we accomplish that? Or what do we, as a group, think our priority ought to be there?
Maybe first, so maybe try to pick out some study areas that we move, and if you can put them in, you can see some new numbers as to how that shifts.
You do that. Yep. Did I secure that?
Yes, I did. Do you guys have the study areas that you'd like to start moving at this point?
The rest of that east of Harrisburg Road.
East of Harrisburg Road.
We have to do it sequentially.
Harrisburg should be right off the bat. Broadway, Limestone, Fayetteville.
Is that
540. You're going to take.
talking about taking these and moving this line here? Study areas into Dunbar.
Okay.
Oh, the tip.
But if you do that, you're going to...
I was going to go over.
I'm sorry, I'm looking the wrong way.
Reduce the... Why are we not looking at the study areas that we left, that are east of Harrisburg Road, where we moved it from Dunbar and Lafayette last time? What about the rest of them that are in between that section in Harrisburg Road? Right there.
Can you do it from the front? Because nobody can see that map where you're showing.
Now, I think the study areas are the problem. I mean, I don't know how they were arrived at.
Number 570, 574.
By streets.
570, 574, 578. Those study areas.
Is there a way to split some of these study areas?
Well, they've already tried to make them too small.
Yeah, but I mean, if they were more geographically along major highways and that sort of thing.
They are. I mean, there are boundaries right on. One they've got. In fact, I guess Isaac enlarged it, so now you can see five. As soon as it refreshes, 577, 572, 570. Harrisburg Road is that boundary to the left of those three study areas.
But that does get away from one of our stated goals of trying to maintain some neighborhood integrity.
Well, not really. I mean, if there's a major, like Interstate 64 going out through there, if everything's on one side or the other.
Your neighbors are across the street?
Well, the Harrisburg Road is
Yeah. So is he moving then?
I can't see.
So you want to see 577, 572 in that little section right there?
Yes.
Okay.
That little piece that's all the way out Harrisburg Road. It's right here.
Right here. 72.
Yeah, there it is, 572, 570.
Go from here to there.
That includes 572. Yeah.
Isaac,
Yes.
can you move study areas 570, 572, 577 along Harrisburg Road there, and the one to the east of that, that small cluster, and move those Dunbar into Lafayette?
Area.
All right. So we're moving them to Lafayette. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. And which study areas is that again?
570, 572, 577, and to the east there. So that cluster.
Including 573?
And 577.
Okay. So this entire cluster right here?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
That's this whole area.
Sure.
That does go.
So that's that little piece.
No, that's
Harrisburg Road.
yes.
That makes sense.
So that goes into Lafayette.
So what does that do?
So now can you tell us what the free and reduced lunch numbers and the capacity numbers are for Dunbar and Lafayette?
The number on the screen there at the bottom, on the computer, if you look at the bottom, the free and reduced is right there. Okay.
That's just Lafayette down to 26.
So then we'll have to...
Lafayette into St. Street.
Keep in mind, however, that you're going to want to add your free and paid. I'm sorry, your reduced
And pay.
and paid ones together, yeah.
Oh,
To come up with the correct percentages.
Yeah, 26 and 05.
I mean, paid some of them out.
Everything we looked at, see this area right there?
Oh, Dunbar. Yeah, Dunbar now.
Are you guys seeing live what he's doing? Well, I don't know. This must be stuck or something.
It's at the bottom of the table.
How do I?
Well,
Oh, there you go. Changes.
That's one. Okay.
I made yours extra smart.
The total in terms of residents, I'll pull those numbers up for you in just a moment here.
The free retirement together. You gotta add them together. This is to get probably get them together separate from there. Okay, here's the numbers.
Okay, so you should be seeing the numbers now. Lafayette has a capacity of 2,100, and you have 2,361 students there. If you make these changes.
Well, now we need some Lafayette in the same place.
Or Lafayette right here. Like this is everything. I would think so. Park should be in with this place.
We moved from Lafayette to the area.
But if we're moving to that place, we want it should be just moving
Henry Clay is only at,
yeah, so we could just think, if I have, all you really have is one.
That's what
You're home on this one, right?
I mean, at least.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot
Okay.
in fact, yeah, you
Isaac, we have a request over here.
Sure.
Good call.
I'm about taking that from Bryan Avenue.
And the rest of it goes
Everybody, let's try to stay focused.
Was that a request that was coming in?
Working on it. Almost.
Okay.
165.
That's what we're doing. Say that one more time. Okay. All right, here we go. We'd like to move 160. Hey, Isaac.
Yes.
Okay, 165, 161, and 166 into the new high school.
What is it?
Talking about right here. 165, right in here. They're talking about moving this out of,
And 167.
Chosen station. They're moving it into the new high school.
That's what I'm doing.
What area is that?
They're saying 165, 161, 152, and 156 into the new high school.
And one more, 153.
153. All right, 1 second. Let me figure out where we're looking at right now. We're looking at the border of...
Right there. Oh, okay. Right down here. It's down like it's inside your temple.
So that's in 154, right? That's it?
Yeah, across the street from right.
What's the last?
Okay, this area right in here. All right, so we've got...
At the edge of the Arlington neighborhood. They don't go to Arlington, but that's right on. They go to Yates. That's it. Yeah, just talking about the
Yeah, let's don't get into the elementary today.
Yeah. So are we moving from Lafayette or have we skipped Lafayette?
Okay, so we're moving this group of study areas here. Is that 165, 166?
Has some thought that if it's doable to get Dunbar down to 92 this early in the process, now what we need to do is take the artificial additional overcrowding at Lafayette and try to move it along. And it looks like we're talking about doing that to Tate's Creek, which will then crowd Tate's Creek. We'll move it along to the new high school, and then the Henry Clay, then the new high school, and then back around to Bryan Station. And if we move these, generally speaking, in some sort of an order, we may end up where we want to be.
What if we took the part from downtown?
Yeah. Hey, Isaac, have you finished the move yet?
Yeah, you're seeing that reflection there. I just wanted to double check with you to make sure I moved all the correct study areas. I've got study area 165, 166, 161, 151, and 152 They should be.
Doug, I think y'all moved down Bryan Station instead of Lafayette. No, we all look. This is what you're talking about. That's the Bryan Station. So you want 172? No, that's out Bryan Station. One out that Lafayette there. You talk about Bryan Station right here. You want one? You moved the wrong one. You want 172, 173. Okay. Hey, Isaac.
Right.
Yes.
Cancel that 161, 166, 167, and 153. What we want is 172, 173, those ones right there. Okay. And we want 172, 173, 173, 181, 181, 182, 182, 186, 186, and 187, and 187 to the new high school.
They're going to put that in the new high school. They're going to put 172.
That group right there, is that?
Yes, that's it.
All right. And that moves them from Lafayette into the new high school.
That's correct.
So you're seeing there that we moved kids from Lafayette. Those are the numbers there in the red. That would put you at 2,231 students, and the proposed high school would go up to 1,431 students at that point.
Not much. Isaac, how many students are in that area, those 6 areas?
I'm pulling up, looks like you've got 130 students there.
Okay.
Pretty good number.
I mean, so if you're taking some here, then you take some more from here. Yeah. And
Before
that's
you
the new road.
can we try his thing of using the Nicholasville Road?
Yeah.
Shifted from land down and
In Lafayette. So here.
Yeah, see, he's looking at moving from Lafayette into
You know, I'd like to also point out that that also includes the change that we made in the southern area of the district as well, adding to Lafayette's current boundary.
right.
So, are we saying here? We draw here. So these students will stay at increase Lafayette's population again.
Yes.
And so we look at what, trying to shift some more from here?
Yeah, maybe.
Into Big Street.
Make that.
Okay, all right. So you're going to call that out? He is. Yeah. Okay, let's see. All right, the next section that we would like to go ahead and change would be the section going back towards the Lafayette High School, Takes Creek area.
Okay. So
And there is like Nicholasville Road. Out towards the county line. And if we were to take that entire line, that entire section, and kind of bring it over for Lafayette to Nicholasville Road.
Nobody in Lafayette.
I'm sorry.
That'll put more Lafayette.
But I thought that was, is that?
Shifted over.
Okay. All right. So that would be sections, let's see.
It's 419, 492, 493, 553, and 5.
Okay. 419, 492, 493, 553, and 594.
That's the area between Nicholasville Road and the railroad track, doesn't it?
Okay. So it might make the map look pretty.
so we're down here in the bottom area. All right.
You made the map look prettier like that.
Aesthetics, right? Aesthetics.
All right. If I could have those study areas one more time for me now that I got the right area.
Sure. 419, 492, 493, 553, and I'm sorry, 553 and 594.
You don't have any of you live there. I think there were 18 in one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I see what we're looking at here.
Yeah, we need to
And
take a look
removing-
when you're
these kids to which high school?
And how many kids we're talking about, so we don't, waste a hell of a lot of time. There's some of these with 2 or 3 kids.
And we're moving them to Lafayette, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's going to take us back up. Yeah,
There's nobody there.
we're going the wrong way.
That's industrial.
Between the railroad tracks.
Yep, that looks like it is an unpopulated zone, so that's just purely cosmetic at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, but she said there was bad students in one of them, she thought.
Which one?
That wasn't mine.
Somebody said it was 8.
I was just
Living in the mall. There's not a resident.
Might be a tenant.
More on Saturday.
They just moved those? Yeah, like 396, they need to. Yeah, they don't want to go back to.
He just clicked on it. What's that?
Why would you make that bus cross?
So with the move we just made, we still have Lafayette at 106. So
About 200 out of Lafayette.
You're right here.
Somewhere other than Take Street. Or Gunner.
Is that 397, 399?
399 it could be.
You might need to
go out towards the Arboretum area, you can take them out.
They don't give us.
They get those kids will still be reasonably close to their play.
You can just take that whole horse.
Changing in 17.
And if you are trying to get the lock in, you got 2 choices. But towards Arboretum.
We're going to be 7 now.
Get around.
Because if you move that into play and take the other Jackson Park, move that to school, it's gone around.
No, right here.
This way.
Park, right here. That one looks toward Jacobson Park. All this goes to school. The student farm on the street spread.
So that whole section from Richmond Road over, one section from Jacobson Park over. That's cool. So that kind of separates that out from the area.
Take some of these, because
NMR.
yeah.
Well, let's try to
I mean, you can take that.
Yes.
Could you, okay, we'd like to now try moving a section out of Lafayette into Henry Clay. And that would be areas 357, 358,
Where's that?
369, 370, 394, 397, and 399.
That was Henry Clay.
They're currently in Lafayette, is our latest iteration.
All right, so we're talking about this section down here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, in like.
Oh. Inside New Circle.
I'll take Street.
All right, so now that I've got the right area, I remember 397 was the last one that I heard. What other study areas?
399. 357, 358, 369, 370, 394, 397, 399.
All three of the 357s.
All three of the 357s, yes.
I just for myself, I'm not my grandfather. She was
So 357 A and B and C.
They're choosing. Go there.
they're going before they get there. Mike. Right here. Yeah.
Was 394 part of that as well, and 395?
On Henry Clay?
394 was, but not 395.
Okay. All right, so we've got 357, A, B, C, 358, 369, 370, 394, 397, and 399. We've left 395 out from that change. And that will bring your numbers up to the following. Henry Clay would move to 2,024. Lafayette would move to 2,077.
I think that
95% for
What did you move that 395 over as well?
Yeah, okay, why don't we just leave that back?
Yeah, that was
Oh, it doesn't make.
yeah, you're right. Boundaries.
Okay. Moving 395 into that change as well. Henry Clay to 2,042, and Lafayette goes to 2,059.
Keep the boundary.
I think that's a good change. Yeah. Could you now show us what that does for free and reduced lucky numbers?
Sure, give me one moment and I'll bring those numbers up for you.
All under 100%. Well, we know we're going to need.
There it is.
Okay, there's your free and reduced numbers. Keep in mind that you're going to want to add your free and reduced numbers together, those percentages there, to come up with the total.
There's 8, Lafayette is 28, Dunbar is 41, proposed high school is 40, Tate Creek is 41.
Bryan Station lower than the Elizabeth. What plus 4 is 28.
28.
What are they at?
Reduced.
Okay, Bryan Station is 62, Henry Clay 38, Lafayette 28, Dunbar 41, proposed high school 40, Tate Creek 41.
But if there was a change made moving some of Lafayette from down here into the new school earlier,
Change it back.
they changed it. They did change it back.
No, I thought we could change it back.
Yeah, let's change it back.
Change it back.
So you're thinking of that Ryan
Right, there was in
Road area?
Yeah.
right up there.
That'll help our free.
Isaac,
Right there, right there.
Isaac, show downtown, please. Enlarge downtown area.
Let's put it back up, back over fast.
No, I don't. There weren't that many kids in there.
That area there, that's what I'm introducing.
Oh, 90.
Yes, that area that you moved out of Lafayette had 21 plus 12 is 33, 43, 51, 61, 67,
That's a lot of kids.
77, 84 kids. and I don't know what percentage, but there are more than 50% of those are free and reduced lunch.
We're good with that, because we're
We're trying to help adjust that to Lafayette.
Currently at Lafayette, right?
No.
Well,
They were.
Now,
Currently,
so we're going to put them back.
In terms of disrupting the queue as people, we'll move them back and see what it looks like.
Okay. So that would be study area 165, 161, 151, 152, and 166.
it's going to help us really reduce this all.
We'll have a good time, friend.
Okay, so this group right here, and we're moving them back to the proposed high school, is that correct?
To Lafayette.
To Lafayette.
So 172, 181, 186.
That's
Okay.
right here.
So, all right.
It's up there, bigger. It's up there. Remember?
So we're going to move these kids back to Lafayette, correct?
And along,
And you want to see what the resident numbers look like?
Oh, okay. So that is
What is it? That only impacted 3%. That's already.
Yeah, but they have moved
Moved it out.
into the new high school. They moved them this way.
89 over capacity.
But I thought you guys moved these up here by Bryan Avenue too.
But that was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Block gets at 100.
Lafayette 104.
Right, so we still would need to shift some kids.
What if you just took 3 of them? Put 3 of them.
That's just split the difference. Maybe you put a few.
Yeah, can you just do 3 and 3? 3 in Lafayette, 3 in the new high school?
Is there any major?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, but
Let's
is
pull
there
the
any?
neighborhood map down.
Yeah, what's down through there?
That's just kind of nice, though.
That's that Gates map is neighborhood.
Talking about this section, so we just moved. Like we put 3 on one, the other night, up in April.
Adding this back. But now it's
So it's expired. The 172.
Exactly.
Shropshire and Lancaster. 187, 182, 173. The new high school.
we try 172 and 173. This is not provide that. This is not.
Yeah, the other one.
So you thinking 172 and 173?
But you already had. So we're talking about that's structure right there. You could move 172 and what's that one right there?
The free read.
Looks like that's 186 right here. It's in the Lafayette.
So
73 and 182.
So 173, 182.
Shropshire's alive.
You're okay.
Okay.
Okay, 173
One
has
seven.
18 kids in it.
Okay. About 182.
182 has 30 kids in it.
Okay. About 187.
187 has 22 kids.
That would about get us where we need to be.
And all of those are high percentage of free and reduced. You've got 86, 86, 77, and
6 we just
57%.
moved. Keep 3 of them in Lafayette and move 3 to the new high school. And that might fix, it's got street Shropshire. That would maybe bring down Lafayette.
Would be a bound. Actually, we don't.
Not yet. Okay, Isaac, 173, 182, and 187 to the new high school, correct? Yeah, correct.
So 173, 182, and 187, correct?
That's correct.
Then back to the new high school.
To the new.
getting a little over capacity, but it's closer. So now you're at 101, right?
Yep, 101.
Okay. It's pretty close.
Pretty close.
How much is free and reduced?
What actually free and reduced?
Hey, Isaac, what is the free and reduced now at Lafayette, based upon that last change?
Let's see here. It takes a minute to bring those numbers back online here.
That wasn't free to eliminate, but maybe you could,
That puts Lafayette at 30% free and reduced. Post high school was at 38%.
Yeah.
So what about
Did that get to 38? Did I hear that?
yes, 38.
That's the new high school.
That's the new high school. Lafayette's at 30.
Oh, Lafayette went down to 30.
Oh,
Ryan
I
Station.
think they came up.
Yeah.
It's all the way down to 60.
But it wasn't 38, it was 31, so now it's 30.
So now Lafayette is at 26. The proposed high school is at 34.
Pretty close.
Ryan Station is 56.
Yes, sir. Okay, guys, here's that free and reduced lunch update. Brian Station is still at 62. Henry Clay is at 38.
Hey, Lisa.
Lafayette at
Lisa,
30.
use the mic so everybody can hear.
38% right now, we're going to lose on it.
Okay, Brian Station at 62. Henry Clay, 38. Lafayette, 30. Dunbar, 41. Proposed High School, 38. Tate Creek, 41.
Can we live with those numbers?
Yeah.
I think we can.
I think so too. Were you all not hearing that?
No, we
The new free and reduced numbers, can you repeat them?
Certainly, we read them.
Okay. You good with them?
Where's our drink card at?
I mean, I think it's,
I think it's
So,
really,
well, Bryan Station now goes to 56.
our under,
Yeah, it's
Brian Station goes to 60.
so you
You guys are free and reduced. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so basically the same thing we were when we first started.
This is what
You guys have never,
this is not what we had 3
what,
weeks
the changes that you all have done, you have not done anything to Brian Station yet. The
Right.
talk was you were going around the clock,
Okay.
counterclockwise.
I think we have a solution to the Lafayette thing, with moving some kids from Lafayette in a high-paid lunch area to Tate's Creek. And it's all along a logical boundary along Winthrop Way from Manowar to the edge of the.
Sandra, did you talk?
So,
They're like,
Yeah,
you can't have an idea.
Okay. Isaac, we've got another idea coming your way.
All right.
But I don't think you're not fixing Tate Creek. You're just moving in so you can move that.
They were trying to adjust to Lafayette. I think they were moving.
Some more Lafayette.
They're thinking of moving some high-paid lunch out of Lafayette into Tate's Creek. But
What?
don't you have Tate's Creek already full? I don't know.
Isaac,
Yes.
Why are we? Give us some rationale behind that.
to reduce overcrowding, still overcrowding at Lafayette.
1%. Why we're worried about 1%?
And we got Tate's Creek at pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to be moving a whole lot more than 1%.
Those are free and reduced.
Okay, I didn't see the latest. I didn't see the latest news then in terms of what.
Can you
Put
put up
the
the new
capacity back. Yeah.
capacities? Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think you need over 100%.
Even 101.
Every school is going to have growth.
But honestly, in this pattern that we have, there will be some areas that get more than others, right, when you talk about the growth. do we know those areas? I mean, I hear what you're saying, your
Yeah.
general statement, but like, for example, if you know the Hamburg area is something coming area, you know there are more families just coming in. Lafayette's a more mature area. You know, a lot of people move into those homes, they don't move back in. Huh? Based upon what? Beaumont, stuff like that. We're still getting more folks out in the Beaumont area.
Beaumont is Jesse Clark is over 100% right now. Those folks are and it's not but the swelling of our elementary school is right there in that area. Remember, it's just open dwelling.
All right, right. So we go back and say you need to have a certain target. Maybe like 95%.
Yes.
One small adjustment, if you can try, please.
Sure.
Just 4 areas, 332, 333, 350, and 351.
351.
And move them from Lafayette into Dunbar.
We had Dunbar no way. We did. Let me just say this. It's 5 till 6. If our stated goal is by 6:30 to have some lines drawn, we've got to go through some sort of a consensus building exercise prior to that to make sure we're all pretty much on the same page. So just keep that in mind. We've been concentrating on Dunbar, Lafayette, and to some degree Tate's Creek, and we're not getting the whole picture quite yet. So let's try to move it a little forward.
Alan, can I just raise a point that was kind of discussed over here in a small group? And that is, if you think about some of the growth in some of our middle schools that's going to feed into our high schools, if we leave our current schools at 100%, is that going to still provide enough capacity?
We don't know.
So,
I mean, we talked about that earlier here, and the example that Lisa used was Beaumont and Southern.
Right.
Extra anticipated growth there. So starting at 101 or 102% capacity seems okay right now, but 4 years from now would be problematic.
Right.
That was the motivation of this last change here, just to see what this does.
Okay. All right.
98%.
The last change did bring Lafayette down under 101%.
Right.
But here's
Puts
the
you at
thing.
98%.
Be required to be at that 92%
Right.
level. So if you can have, you know, if that's what's required, that's fine. But if you know a school is not going to, or an area is not going to have that type of growth, being at maybe 98% is acceptable.
Well, you know, that would be the submission that Mike or Rick might have. Jim, where's Jim there? You know,
This last change puts Lafayette at 98.9, Dunbar at 95.
Lafayette is at 76.
Lafayette's at 98 here in this latest
Not
change.
made the changes.
You're looking at free. You're looking at free. Well, I mean,
That's what it was from.
I'm looking at total attendance, unless my math is not caught up.
Are we refreshed, Isaac?
Yes, those are the current numbers. I'll go ahead and I'll make that assignment. And you'll see that those are the numbers, 989 and 95.
Bryan Station is at 77, and we haven't done anything with that yet.
Right.
Henry Clay, 96, Lafayette, 99, Dunbar, 95, Creek, 98, and proposed at 82. Pretty good numbers. Yeah. But we haven't done anything with, proposed the new lease.
What do you want to do? You got
But that's not really good numbers if we haven't done anything with Brian, and they're not the way all those are. There is no
and they come back and micro tweet there. Yeah, I think that's right.
Can we see what this does, though, to the,
He did it.
to the pre-reduced lunch?
The free and reduced, you want to take a look at now?
Yeah.
I am.
Then I'll show you.
I do
Might
not.
be a wash. There's not a lot for you to lunch there.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, there's your free and reduced numbers there.
What's 30?
Lafayette is at 30.
Delmar's at 41, the proposed high school is 38, Hayes Creek is 41, Bryan Station is 62, and Henry Clay is 38.
We haven't touched
What 30 is Lafayette going to be? I think.
I don't know how much more we can change it.
Well, again, it's about consensus. Are we okay with all of the schools being at 30%? No, like you said, we haven't done it.
Let's go over there.
Let's leave everything that we've got where it is at the moment. Now let's concentrate on Bryan Station with the goal of reducing that percent and see how those capacities move Henry Clay and the new proposed high school around in those numbers. Let's see what we can do there. Let's spend 10 or 15 minutes trying to do that.
And if you look at this map over here that you guys have been using, this red line was your free reduced lunch balance line. So this red that was pulled into Lafayette, that was how you had adjusted that. So you might, as you're looking for ideas, it's hard because this one still has a black line on it. But you see this, some of the ideas that worked for you last time might be a starter.
Where was the new high school in this one being reduced? Was it 40, did I hear you say?
41.
41, I think.
41.
Well, what about up here?
So there's not a hell of a lot of room we can move in there.
What about this on the Bryan Station? I mean, from the new school, the green area, if that went over to Bryan, at the very top, is that the proposed school? And that's that, what if we move that over to Bryan Station? That's what I was thinking.
63,
Nobody out.
Not a lot of people there that is going to.
Is it right? And that area is growing because Winchester Road, they're working on a lot of houses, so maybe that needs to go to Bryan Station.
You go in, that brings
Like you can't put.
You cannot go in.
Corners.
You can't because nobody lives there.
Small development, leave it at 78%, that's going to be a viable
Right.
plan for the.
Well, you got that area, and see if that helps. Is that what you were saying?
It's right down here. Yeah, you can take them, but that's going to just increase their numbers.
Bryan Station Road, yeah, Bryan Station. Try that.
Nowhere to go out here, nowhere to go out here. You can only go in, increase.
There's all of that road.
Well, there's not many people out there.
Hey, I'm pretty sure right the other side of where the new school's going.
What do you mean, already?
The other side.
I heard people elected. So,
That is a green area over there. That is a green area.
Over there, true.
well,
No, not there. Right there, yeah.
it doesn't work. No.
what is that base map? That's all outside.
You go out here, there's no.
I'm sorry. I did you, I know.
It's all done.
So it's going to grow in that area?
No.
I can't. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. I got you. On the outside.
Well, that's what we're.
Well, I mean, but that's why we left capacity at the new high school, because that's where our biggest growth is.
Yeah, that's 7, where are we?
We are at, right, you didn't have that. 78.
78.
Are we going to have some in Lafayette? That's going to push it over the long. I mean, we've got them all under.
What you want to go look at?
Yeah, if we're going to be building a new high school.
Hey, Gerald. You know what they all really seriously consider for Bryan Station? Because they need to move one of these magnet programs, distracting all these kids. Providing transportation to put it on station.
Well, they do have, we've got 2 magnet programs there now, though.
Spanish immersion.
They have their own business.
And you got IT over there.
Yeah, their own IT.
But I mean,
That work will,
they work your soul. IT don't want to be. The problem is, we're running into the problem of Washington and Henry Clay. Everybody goes
Where do they go?
Everybody's going to Henry Clay because they're back to program. We're going to Bryan Station.
I would like that. I mean, what prohibits that?
You know what? If we talk about those stuff, we don't have Yeah, I did well including the GAPA Performing Arts Program in your own separate building. So that's good now. That's now right. That would. Y'all, but it's not going to happen. I hear you. That's what we talked about earlier, about trying to do something.
But I don't know if you everybody all wait. No.
So it's
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Well,
I have a list of,
they don't.
we're going to move to Bryan Station. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, let me get set up for that.
There's our body for.
All right, so we're moving kids to Bryan Station. What study areas would we like to reassign?
Okay, we're looking at 14,
You know, because
15,
why?
16,
So
13, 12, 96, 97, 98, 99, 95, 111.
that's another thing. Which
So I heard 95, 96, 98, 99. I'll start with those.
Okay.
there's no manipulation. We don't have kids in the area.
So that second set of numbers you called out was 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99, correct?
Correct.
I mean, it's going to look pretty on the map. That might be about it.
So where are we now? We've done a good job of not neighborhood.
And then we talked about 14, 15.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay.
I don't know where they are.
I don't know how.
I got it. I know where they are. I don't know where they are in Lexington.
I'm at 84.
And, yeah, I think it was 111 out there too.
I don't know the profession, how you fix it. Oh, talk about it.
Well, and also too, the 62% is just not saying that's a huge issue.
All right, so but those two sets of changes made, 95, 96, 97, 99, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Moves Bryan Station's resident numbers up to 1,569, so 84% capacity. And the proposed high school has 74% capacity, 1,222 students.
It was all
Farmland.
Big Lane Road went to the drag.
Okay. What's the free and reduced lunch?
Can you give us the free and reduced lunch?
Sure, give me one moment and I'll pull those numbers up.
Find out what the numbers are on that.
IBM.
What are we at?
So I'm asking, what are those two free and reduced lunch changes?
I think he's working on it.
They got it down.
So you should see the screen refresh here shortly if you haven't already. That puts Bryan Station's free and reduced at 61%.
At what? Still 61? Yep.
Because you can move them all day.
Yeah, there's no, you can't.
What about the road right there on Newtown Road where you have, I can't see the numbers here. But on the train
5,276.
and move over to the Dunbar area. What would that do?
That's the number. 37, 32, and 30. 90.
To get the numbers down, it's blind.
Oh, those, are they green? Are those green?
There's a big green area that you can see.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about, red, some of the big red areas.
Are you talking about this red area here? Right here?
You're trying to make it like a clean line on these.
Yeah, it's not a big number. There's 0 children here, and there's only 27 there. So you put 27 in and 27 right out. That might be fine.
What, 25?
So you're putting 27 back in the Dunbar and putting 27 green in. It could very well change.
Do you want to see that change?
Yes.
I would like to see that.
Okay, so Isaac, can you hear us?
I hear you.
Okay, we're at 2 o'clock on the map. No, we're at 11 o'clock on the map, excuse me. And we're talking about 45, study area, 45, 47, 46, 49, and 48, and 50, moving from Bryan Station into Dunbar. So taking Leestown Road as that boundary.
Okay.
I think this finger right along here is the urban services boundary too.
That's why we wanted that on the map.
So it's like almost 27
Were there many kids?
Yeah, you see right over there where Jim is pointing?
There was 0 in the green, so that's not helpful.
But that is an area that could have growth because this is in the urban services boundary. I don't know if that's, Jim, do you want that? No, that's designated for,
That's R.J. Corman. I think
is that industrial?
that's Corman. That's not the growth area.
Oh, okay.
I'll put that urban growth boundary in for you guys in just a second here.
What is it called?
Urban growth.
Drink one out, like Allenton.
Okay, it takes Dunbar back up to 99%.
There's nobody in there.
And Isaac, can we see the frame reduced lunch?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
All here tonight.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want to see it,
Bryan Station's at 80, Henry Clay,
96,
Lafayette 99, Dunbar 99, New School 74, Page Creek 98. They're all.
okay, and your free and reduced lunch at Bryan Station is still 61. Henry Clay's at 38, Lafayette's at 30, Dunbar's at 41, the proposed high school is 38, Page Creek is 41. So what was it on in your free and reduced lunch distribution that worked? You had Bryan Station down to 49% on that. And every school was under capacity.
Take that change back and see what
I'm sorry, what, sir?
So then you got all that transportation costs. That's what we did.
I don't know what he said. This original map, you left off the last meeting with, had every school in the capacity and fixed your balance. So what worked on this one that you haven't done on this one? Is the question.
Well, are you talking about the, which one are you talking about? Yeah, well, the problem with that is you had station.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Driving all over.
Split up neighborhood, left and right. Split the pay, half of them are going to Bryce.
Just having a brainstorm.
Or, maybe even more than you. I was really. I got a perspective.
Okay, everybody, 6:15. I want to try to take one final look, if Isaac can hear me.
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, just one final look at what we've got. Give us the capacities, Lisa, if you could do that, capacities and free and reduced.
Isaac, can you show us that on the same screen? Can you give us both of those? And can you also, after you give us these numbers, can you zoom out so everybody can see kind of a big picture of the social and a big picture of the community?
Yes, please.
Sure.
See what it looked. See if we didn't make any stupid anomalies along the way.
It's just time.
Can't hear me? My voice is screwed anyway.
That's your radio, boy.
All right, so here's your capacity numbers down here at the bottom of the screen. Everything is under 100%.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I'll send you.
Not here. I can't read it. Why don't you just do it?
Okay, guys, here's your capacity right now. You've got 1485 in Bryan Station, which is a capacity of 80. You have 2,042 kids at Henry Clay, which is a capacity of 96. You have 2,077 kids at Lafayette, which is a capacity of 99. You have 2,008 kids at Dunbar, which is a capacity of 99. You have 1,222 kids at the proposed high school, which is 74%. And Tates Creek High School has 1995 at 98%. As a district, we are at 92%. So that would be if you had evenly distributed that. Can we see free and reduced lunch, Isaac?
Sure.
And then Isaac, on this map that you're showing us, are the black lines our proposals?
The black lines are your current high school attendance boundaries.
Okay. So on this big picture map, black lines are current high school, and the colors beneath it are the zones that you're proposing within. Bryan Station is at 61%. Henry Clay is at 38%. Lafayette is at 30%. Dunbar is at 41%. The proposed high school is at 38%. And Tates Creek High School is at 41%. Our district-wide balance is 41%. So that puts Lafayette 11% down and Dunbar or Station 20% up.
Not too much moving a lot of kids either.
Right, and if you look at the black line compared with the colored line, compared with the colors, these are the kids you're moving. You know, you're moving this area here, you're moving this area here, here, down there, this area here. So, you know, of course, the new high school is only. So.
Yeah. Be one of every color.
Yeah.
Give me a yellow.
Okay, so Alan is passing out a stack of colored cards, yellow, red, and green. Red means I cannot live with this. Green means I can live with this. Yellow means we need some more change.
Are we all?
Okay, everybody understand the exercise as we explained it earlier.
Can you move it?
These are the lines that we landed on. This is clearly, there's so many more exercises to do once we start layering in elementary and middle schools. But at least as a starting point, this is where our conversations have landed us tonight.
Right.
And we're just going to see what we end up with. But again, if one color is all you're going to need, and you're going to tell us if it's sucks, which is red, it doesn't suck as bad as it could, it's green, and we need to keep talking about how much it might suck, it's yellow.
Oh, wow.
Everybody get it?
Got it. We need color.
All right.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Yeah, you need it.
I'm right here, sir.
You ready to start collecting them?
You're calling, no, you don't want to do show of hands, you want to do a blind
No.
ballot?
Yeah, no show of hands, just throw them in the middle.
Okay. Here, I'll close my eyes, just hand this card.
Yes, no.
What color your vote? Over there, to your right. To your left.
Yeah,
Up,
over here.
down.
Okay. Okay, how about when that table?
Everybody free.
That's
Right.
true.
We're still going to do little tweaks.
Right. But there's just one little area that I think. Okay.
It's not super secret, it's just,
Okay. So we have one person who cannot live with this. We have 3 people who think that we should keep talking. And we have a whole lot of hungry people who want to go get dinner.
Now, we should keep talking, didn't mean tonight.
Right.
And it's also, once we start doing middle school and elementary.
You'll be tweaking it anyway.
We're going to have to go back and change.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to continue to use this little piece of process.
I like it.
Can I ask one favor?
Sure.
Whoever would like to keep talking or feels like this is untenable, if you want to send me an email with some of the things that you think the committee might want to consider, we can, I can send it anonymously, to share with everyone, or, if you're someone who doesn't like to talk and you don't want to be confrontational, we can certainly put those ideas out. Yes,
I
Ron?
would say it's not a matter of unanimity. I'll say it right now. My yellow card is because I think we're going to have a perception problem if we drop Lafayette free reduced lunch down to 30%. I don't know that there's much we can do about Bryan Station because of where, unless we start busting kids. But I think we're going to have an issue there, so I think we need to tweak some more.
And that may come when we do middle
It
school.
may.
Yeah.
Well, I just did a yellow because there's a small spot on Hayes Boulevard that I think should be with the rest of them. There's not a dividing line there, like Richmond Road.
Okay.
There's just a small, very small area.
It's got a few little,
Yeah, it's
that we might want to consider, and we know that we have done this. We haven't overlaid elementary school boundaries on this.
Right.
We don't know what the feeder patterns look like. So, no one should start freaking out or putting houses on the market based on it. Okay, Ron,
Can we ask, I don't know if we're going to ask, I think Scott, we have an issue about the timeliness.
yes.
Since we have this to start with, can we overlay middle school and elementary boundaries on this to see what it looks like in terms of feeder pattern? Just as a
Certainly.
picture?
Do you want him to do that right now, or do you want him to do that and send it out? Okay, so I would like to know, what do you want for the next meeting? I've heard you want, we're going to freeze, Isaac, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, we are freezing what we've done. We are saving what we've done, and just so the committee knows, by doing this through the go-to meeting, Isaac has recorded this entire session, so we'll be able to take a link to that, put it up on the website, so you can watch every progression of changes that you all have done tonight. Okay? So we are going to get that go-to meeting link. That's another piece of information we want. We want the current adjustments that you all have made. We want to see how that compares with current middle school boundaries, current elementary school boundaries. We can't get you projections for 2 weeks. So what do you want for next time?
Well, I would suggest that we begin an exercise that might take 2 weeks to start layering in another level. And I don't know where to suggest to start, but, you know, either elementary or middle, to start looking at some of those. It probably will take us 2 weeks to get familiar enough, as we've got, you know, it's taken us really a lot of time to get through the easy one. So, does anybody have a preference as to where we go? What seems most logical to you? Middle. Okay. So, Lisa?
Okay, we can do middle.
Whatever information we can get on middle.
Now, here's the thing, guys. With middle, we're not building a new school. So there's no new information to give you other than where we currently, what our boundaries currently are. Now, you remember when we started the high school thing, he did like a closest school, everybody goes to, you know, no schools over capacity. You know, he ran those scenarios based on having a new school to put into the mix. He can certainly run those scenarios on our current boundaries, but there's nothing pushing you to change current boundaries other than the tweaks you just made here.
Well, we can look at feeder patterns, though,
You could.
as they exist with this tentative
Okay.
map, and looking at the population of kids in the areas that don't fall neatly into it.
Okay. So he's not going to. We're not going to ask him to run scenarios for you.
No.
But we will ask him to run data on the, you know, this 9 through 12 data that he's got here. We'll run 6 through 8 data and pull all of that together for you.
And that we ought to be able to get.
Yes, that should not take long.
Okay.
I'm putting words in your mouth, Isaac, but that shouldn't take long, right? Because we're not asking you to run any new scenario.
No, that won't take too long to do at all.
Okay.
Alan, Lisa, we lost quite a bit of time chasing some study areas that didn't have any kids in it. Do you think that we might be able to flag the study areas that say have less than 8 kids, less than 10 kids, turn it gray, something so that we're just taking it out of our focus?
Okay. You guys want to use, it's kind of hard because there's probably a lot that are under 10.
I'm managing one way or the other. But do we want to, I think that's a great idea, but I'm wondering, what about if these are areas where they're slated for high growth that just currently don't have it?
Well, what we're using them for right now is to move kids around to change numbers.
Right.
But there's no numbers there to change.
Exactly.
So we're spinning our wheel. So it's not that we should completely ignore them. We just don't want to get bogged down in them. So when we're looking to move 100 kids.
Or if we see that there's a huge cluster of those study areas together, we'll know to aggregate them.
So I'll have him do something with any study areas that have 0, and then I'll have him do something that's like 5 and down.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for me. You got it.
Thank you.
Good work. Good work.
Yes.
Alan, you're certainly.
Let's go, Alan. Be on task.
Gold star.
Next week I'll be here to go home.
Oh, yeah, we're... We're going to move the next meeting to this room because we're switched here to do what we did November. We're here. The next 2 meetings will be here. The website says what warehouse, but we'll be here instead.
So if people leaving, to reiterate what Lisa said, we'll be here for the next 2 meetings.
It's location. Next to me.
Big one to a lot of I don't think we wait a lot. Building sitting here, all this new thing. The problem is not another 1,000.
Be here again next Thursday?
That
Yeah. Around over there.
And y'all look, you know, it's beautiful. Think of Georgetown. I don't know what you all call it.
Really?
The most brilliant schools that we have. Did you just hear that is the lowest test rate? They're not really. They may have. They're not really.
Hey, I was telling Austin about this all. His everybody was engaged. Oh yeah. It was 4 business meetings. So it wasn't.
The only reason I was asking because that school is there because of housing authority. And we have a interest, HUD has a best interest. So if it were one